Hello, my name is Alexis, and today I am going to present the topic of the Dada art. This art style was born in 1916 at the Cabaret Voltaire thanks to Jean Arp, Hans Richter, Tristan Zara, Richard Halsenberg, Marcel Janko, and the writer Hugo Boll, who coined the term Dada. The origins of this word are still unclear. Some argue that it could derive from the nonsense onomatopoeic expression dada, evoking the absurd and playful roots of the first words. It also can be translated as yes, yes in Russian and Romanian, or there in German, alluding to their international basis. Other sources argue that the name was found in a French German dictionary meaning hobby horse. This kind of art, poetry, and performance is often satirical and nonsensical in nature. In addition to its anti-war self-thing, Dada was also anti-bourgeois and had political affinities with the radical left. Experimenting with unorthodox materials as everyday objects, techniques like collages and photomontages or performances, Dadaists reinvented the concept of art, introducing the concept of randomness and spontaneity. They trust mild obscenities, scatological humor, visual puns, and everyday objects, later renamed as art, into the public eye. The Dada smoked dehumanization with elaborate pseudo-diagrams, chock-a-block with gears, pulleys, dials, wheels, levers, pistons, and clockworks that explain nothing. It finally spread to the rest of the world after the first publication of the Dada magazine in 1917, which publicly expressed its anti-war and anti-conventional art ideals. These values influenced later on the basis of surrealism in Paris just after the war. This movement would prove to be one of the most influential in modern art, foreshadowing abstract and conceptual art, performance art, or pop art and installation art. Historical context. This art movement was formed during the First World War in Zurich, Switzerland, as this was a neutral country with limited censorship at the time. Dada could emerge even during the rise of the more radical and anarchist ideals. In July of that year, Dada made its first appearance during the reading of its own artistic manifesto, read by Hugo Boll. It aims to be a reaction to the horrors of war. They wanted to destroy traditional values in order to replace them with this new form of art. Now I am going to proceed to cite what Hans Harp said about what they were creating during the war. He said, "While the guns rumbled in the distance, we sung, painted, made collages, and wrote poems with all of our might." This obviously made reference to the tough situation that was happening at the moment when they were all refugees in Switzerland and when the magical of creation of Dada occurred. Dada was influenced by Cubism, Expressionism, and Futurism, but grew out of the anger over what its practitioners perceived as an unjust and senseless war. It was not only the war, but the impact of modern media and the emerging industrial age of science and technology that provoked the Dada artists. When Dadaists chose to represent a human form, it was often mutilated or made to look manufactured or mechanical. In 1917, Hossenbeck, one of the founders of the Zurich group, transmitted the Dada movement to Berlin, where it took on a more political character. Once the war ended in 1918, many of the artists returned to their home countries, helping to further the spread of the movement. These are the three ideals of Dadaism. The first one is a spontaneity, which is an appeal to individuality and violent cry against the system. The second one is negation, which is the spread of demoralization. And the third one is the absurd, which argues that everything is paradoxical, everything opposes harmony. The Dadaists use absurdity as an offensive weapon against their ruling elite, whom they say as contributing to the war. But to its practitioners, Dada was not a movement. It's artist, not artist, and it's art, not art. Famous Dada artists. In this section, we can find artists like Hans Arp, Marcel Duchamp, Francis Picavia, Kurt Schwitters, Man Ray, Tristan Zara, Marx Ernst, Raoul Husman, and Hannah Hoch. Dada artists are hard to classify in gender because many of them did many things like music, literature, sculpture, painting, puppetry, photography, body art, and performance art. Now I am going to analyze an artwork. The one that I chose is named One in Three Chairs, which is a ready-made sculpture. It is located in a museum in Toledo, Ohio, in the United States. Its author is Joseph Kosuth. The general characteristics are this is a work consisting of a wood chair, a photograph of the chair, and an enlargement of the definition of chair in the dictionary. The objects and symbols that we can find is the chair and the two enlargements. The sensation it gives, it's basic, it is a chair. We can also find the representation of a chair and the meaning of the sense of the chair. The composition is a photograph of the chair. The technique it is used is a photographic enlargement. And the aesthetic experience it gives to me, it is about the simplicity and the deepness of daily objects. Also, it could be a representation of the real world, the world of visual or empirical representations, and the world of abstract meanings. The emotions I could find are philosophical questioning or real world appreciation. The message itself, it is an approach to the three codes of reality: object, index, and linguistic representation. Now I am going to share my final opinion and my final conclusion. The other art is whimsical, colorful, witty, and sarcastic, and at times downright silly. If one wasn't aware of there was indeed a rationale behind Dadaism, it would be fun to speculate as just what these gentlemen were up to when they created these pieces. It is a total pandemonium. Dada artists decided to use their pain, anger, and the sadness occasioned by the terrible events occurring at the moment in order to transform it into a satirical, absurd, ridiculous, and at the same time a magnificent critique of the war, politics, and obviously social movements. Its greatness was that enormous that even nowadays we can admire its legacy and influence in modern art. We can find it in museums and expositions. It is also remarkable its presence in mass media and social networks. I would dare to say that their creators were not that aware of the impact of their new artistic style, which is being a game changer in what is considered art in modern days. Thank you so much for your attention, and I hope you like the presentation. Now, in the next slide, you can find the bibliographic references, and that's all for my part. Thank you so much.